Hello there, friends. Another thought for the day. So, when you're going through difficulties, and that's when we look to God the most, right? When it's easy, hey, we've got our mind on, enjoying it, which is a good thing, right? But if we've been praying for something and all we're getting is disappointments, what do we do, right? And I'll be honest with you, it gets down to our faith level, right? With however you're measuring your faith, that's going to be your results, okay? That's so examine yourself and what your true thoughts and feelings are. Do you really believe that God is working in your favor, everything like that? So, thinking about it, I've came to the conclusion that, a lot of preachers say, hey, keep your feelings out of it, which is okay, but feelings are what drive us, right? So your belief has to be backed up to just build it inside of you. And so, using the example of, let's say your leg hurts or you hurt your knee or whatever. Okay, so you're praying for that. It's just, maybe it was an injury, maybe just arthritis or whatever. Okay, so we're praying about that healing and we're going to God. We're believing He hears our prayer because He does. But we're not getting anywhere. It seems to be getting worse. So what do we do, right? How do we view that? And this is where you take that time to really, you think maybe God's too busy. Maybe He's in Australia. Maybe He's up in the North Pole getting ready for Christmas gifts, right? Yeah, you know what I mean here. Oh, God hears every individual prayer, and you wonder, how does that really work? Here's the thing is, it's all about you and your relationship to God. And you need to start thinking, I don't want to bring in the positive. Oh, that's just positive thinking. Well, the devil, his whole job is to get you into negative thinking. And that negative thinking is, your life is terrible, God doesn't care about you, and all that. It's the Spirit of God that brings you joy, love, peace, right? So you really have to spend time thinking about, hey, I've got this knee, I've got some problems, this and that. Start thinking about what you would be doing today if you never had this problem. Would you be out walking your dog, enjoying yourself, pain-free? Put that image in your soul and believe God for it. Because that's the desire of your heart, to be able to be totally healed. And so, Jesus said that. He told us to think on good things. And what would that be if you were going through this, right? How would you be if you were totally healed? How would that change your life? And start asking yourself, how would it change my life? And then when that first thought, what would you do, comes in and it just really is in your heart, that's what you need to keep thinking of. And not only just thinking about it, but believing, hey, I can have a normal life. Because as the older you get, the less you believe, right? It's because the world beats us up. That's why you're supposed to approach it like a child. But what if all of a sudden you were healed? I don't know if it was like John 8 or something like this, but the disciples healed the man with leprosy that was born crippled, or I think he was born crippled and all that. His whole life he lived in poverty, in misery, and everything like that. And the disciples, which Jesus commanded us to do, is to heal the sick. And He said, you'll be able to do greater things than what you've seen. And they talked to this man and they said, hey, you are healed. And then he leaped, right? He leaped and praised God, okay? So we need to take a look at things like that, the desires of your heart and how you are going to God. He wants, in him is yes and amen, right? The devil is telling you can't do that. You're not going to be healed. I don't care about you, right? That's why your prayers aren't answered, because that spirit's going to drive you away from God. And being a fallen angel that wants the power over your life, that's kind of his motive, right? So you need to really look at how God views you as his most precious person on the earth. And if you can get that in you, you will go places, okay, because he'll bless you and honor you as you honor him. Okay, so it's just like hey, if you didn't have a job and you always, what you wanted is you wanted a job that you could take care of your family, that you could buy a house and everything like that. Might seem too far in distance from that location you're at, without a job, without any prospects. But if you believe God, doors will open. It'll be the strangest thing in your life, and then you will claim, oh, that was natural. My brother-in-law worked for him, had been trying to get me this job for many years, when actually it was your faith in God being activated as he looks at your life and says, the answer of your prayers isn't a problem for him. Okay, same thing with, like, if you wanted a really nice car, you've always wanted, say, an Audi. I like Audis. I like German cars and stuff like this. But let's say you always wanted one. It was something that just, when you see them on the road, you just absolutely think that's the best thing ever, and you start praying for it. Is that wrong to pray for it? No. God is your supplier. So, and the most interesting things will happen. All of a sudden, there will be an Audi giveaway, and guess who wins, right? You. And then you're trying to explain how that worked, right? Because it can happen, but it's with your faith, and you have to have faith in God. Now, the thing that I say is when you're praying about it, and you'd really like something, put yourself in that situation of how it would impact, how the desires of your heart being fulfilled, what would that do? How the joy, right? You feel that? It's God saying, hey, I can get this for you, right? It's not Santa Claus. There's so many Christians that just hammer things, and I go, well, go ahead and hammer me, but unless you're out healing 20 people this weekend, I don't want to hear about it. All you got to do is look in the Bible, and you just take it for what the words are, and start living your life every day, honoring God and looking for his provision and looking for him taking care of, because he said, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about what you eat, what you dress in, whatever. I'll take care of that. Man, if you can get there and totally have faith, you are walking around in the joy and peace that God originally intended for you. Okay, so that's today's thoughts. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you.